Everybody, welcome along to Snetterton, or welcome back if you joined us yesterday. We've got the Clubman Sports Prototype Championship Round 7 here this afternoon, and well, they're just heading off on their final formation lap. Let's guide you through the grid, and the way they line up is based on their fastest lap times from yesterday's race. Clive Wood, who claimed his third win of the season, sits there on pole position, and alongside him is Steve Dickens. At row 2 of the grid is the pole sitter from yesterday, Cody Tree, and Jared Lester, who claimed his first overall podium of the season so far yesterday. Row 3 of the grid is Peter Richings and Mike Yules. And on row 4, it's class winner from yesterday, his 5th class win. Alan Cook lines up alongside Ian Crombie. The 5th row of the grid sees David Whale and Ben Mallock. And row 6 of the grid is where we see Maurice Hart, who claimed his first class win of the season yesterday alongside Steve Chaplin. Row 7 of the grid, retirement yesterday for Matteo Gauthier Thornton. He'll be hoping for better things today alongside number 70 Steve Everson. And row 8 of the grid is Sean Hurley and Richard Gilmore. Row 9 of the grid sees a first-class winner yesterday, Martin Walker, line up alongside Paul Freeman. And row 10 of the grid is Barry Webb and Samantha Evans. The 11th row of the grid is Pippa Tanner Wood and Roger Watton, with row 12 being comprised by Gareth Salter and John Lambert. Row 13, the penultimate row of the grid, is Mike Upton and Michelle Haywood, who retired on the very first lap yesterday. And at the very back of the grid, didn't even manage to do a racing lap yesterday, had issues even in the qualifying session. It was number 66, Adrian Lester, so he starts from the back of the grid. I'm delighted to say that once more the chairman of the Clubman's Register joins me in the commentary box, Mike Evans. Mike, great racing yesterday. 2 first-time class winners by way of Maurice Hart in his class and Martin Walker in his.
Yes, for this season, and great. I mean, obviously Maurice was champion in 2000 last year, but that's Martin's first win, and it was a dominant win over Barry, which really surprised me, and he was absolutely over the moon last night.
I bet he was, and that sort of, I suppose, that sort of might sort of tighten it up in terms of the overall championship standings when you look across all of the classes as well.
Yes, indeed, and obviously Class 2, Michelle didn't get a score yesterday, so that one as well. And then
didn't get a win, and Clive would beat Steve Dickens.
We've got local man Sean Hurley pulling off here. That's a pity.
That is a pity, yeah. So straight away problems for the number 34 car. So the man from Peterborough, isn't he? The Mallock Mark 28 off the circuit. All good with your car, because of course your daughter's out in this one.
Yes, that's right. Indeed, no, Samantha's out in this one. Yeah, everything's fine. And there's a few people back out as well that are actually had problems yesterday. Neil Chapman and Adrian Lester, they're both out. I mean, Neil's, they had problems with the gearbox, and they had a look at it. Oh no, they weren't happy. And Steve Everson and Neil went down to London and pinched the spare, or one out of actually of Steve Everson's car that he's building up. and fitted it last night. I mean, and this is it. This is one of the other drivers going and helping a rival.
Well, as Barry Webb said to us yesterday in the interview, you know, that sort of absolutely epitomises the ethos of Clubman's racing.
No, very much so. I mean, the racing on the track is really hard, but once you're back in the paddock, everybody's there trying to help each other out, make sure everybody gets out, any problems are resolved and everything like that. No, and we all had a lovely barbecue last night. The weather was glorious here. We actually had an impromptu barbecue up the area where we were camped out in the paddock and everything like that, keeping social distancing correct. Of
course, yeah. It's nice that we're able to do that, albeit socially distanced still nowadays. But yeah, nice to see that the world is returning back to some normality. So the cars lining up on the grid. We've already given you the grid. Now, we saw the pole sitter yesterday at the wheel of that red car, the number 71 car, Cody Tree, get an awful start. He'll be wanting better things today when the lights go out.
Yes, indeed. No, he didn't get a good start, and obviously, as we saw, he went towards the front to start off with, but then dropped back, and sure enough, he grained his tyres up. So we've had a chat, and the plan is that he's going to see what happens if he takes it easy for 4 or 5 laps and then
build from there.
Just like Clive does, because obviously Clive and Cody's car seem to treat the tyres in a similar way. So it'll be fascinating to see if he manages to do that, or whether the red mist comes over early on.
So it's an all Mallock front row of the grid. The red lights are about to come on, though. Clive Wood sitting on pole position in the number 50 car. The number 7 car is Steve Dickens, his main championship rival in Class CSP, one that sits alongside. Good start from both, but I'm afraid Jared Wood goes nowhere when the lights go out. He's stalled on the grid. Cars having to take avoiding action, but thankfully for Jared Wood, everybody was able to sort of scoot their way around him, so they charged their way through Ritchie's for the first time, and that's given Jared Wood, who finished on the podium for the first time this season, it's given him a chunk of work to do.
Yes, indeed. No, he'll have his work cut out now to go from there. I think we'll see these three, and obviously Pete Richings is right up there. Pete's up into 3rd place ahead of Cody. We've got Maurice ahead of Matt. Michelle's coming through the field. I mean, the Class 2 race I think will be fascinating as well. And there's Paul Freeman in the unique art. Oh dear, Alan Cook's got a problem.
Oh dear.
Our Classic A class weren't there from yesterday. He's got a problem pulling over already.
Yeah, problems for him. 5 class wins for him, was leading the CSP A class, and he's going to retire on the very first lap of this one. The other car to watch coming through the field, I would say, is number 66, Adrian Lester, because he was already making fantastic progress through the order, and might even be up inside the top dozen now after the 27 cars that started. But for the lead of the race, absolutely together. Clive Wood leads, Steve Dickens second, Pete Richings in third, Cody Tree in fourth. Those 4 breaking away.
Yeah, no, that's great. And then Mike Yule's just trying to hang on to them. Obviously, Alan's got a problem. Looks like he's well off the side of the track. Yeah,
sensible driving as well, that isn't it? You've got a problem with the car. Get it as far out of harm's way as you can, and the race can continue.
No, the Clark of the course was really complimentary of Michelle getting her car right out of the way. There was no need to have a safety car or anything like that. So, no, the drivers use their brains. This is the beauty of it.
Well, most of them have been round long enough. A few of them are slightly younger in the tooth, as we were alluding to yesterday. The age range is something like 75, maybe the oldest driver, down to 18, the youngest in the field. It must be one of those championships of the UK that's probably got the most broad spectrum of ages.
Indeed, no, and it's great. And it's good to see the youngsters there having a go in the cars and really enjoying themselves.
Having a go for the lead of the race is Steve Dickens. Is he close enough as they head up towards Murray's? No, he's very close indeed, but Clive Wood hangs on to the lead of the race. Does Steve Dickens get a better exit? He's certainly going to get the toe as they head along the Senna straight. He'll tuck himself behind Clive Wood. Clive Wood will hug that right-hand side of the circuit, so Dickens will have to jink out. Pete Richings is coming under pressure for third place as well, as Cody Tree looks to try and work his way through. Side by side, almost for the lead up towards Ritchie's corner, but Steve Dickens just got to keep his powder dry for the moment. Can he attack, though, on the run towards the hairpin?
He's trying hard. And obviously, this is unusual for Clive to be out front straight away and everything like that. Obviously, he feels confident. And Pete, in third place, is renowned as a difficult person to get past. He has a very wide car, unusually, but you know, it'll be interesting to see what happens with Cody as the race progresses.
There were oil flags at Palmer. Let's hope that the errant car of Alan Cook hasn't deposited something on the circuit. Pete Richings almost caught out there, wasn't he? Cody Tree goes through.
Yeah, no, indeed. Looks like Pete was found the oil. Cody's got through, and okay, we're into a yellow flag section now and everything like that. So
yeah, so there'll be no overtaking as they head through that yellow flag section because of the car of Alan Cook having been parked up, and Alan is sort of in the centre of the circuit with no really barriers around him, so he's slightly vulnerable. So I think that's why they're just covering that with the yellow flag for this stage, even though the car and driver, to be fair, are well out and truly of the way. A great first lap also from the number 66 car. He might just lose a place now, Adrian Lester. 16 places gained on the first lap, from 27th on the grid all the way up to 12th.
Yeah, I mean, the car is a front-running Class 1 car, so you expect to see Adrian come on strong and everything.
Yeah, a driver who has been racing Clubman's for a good number of years, did do a bit of more modern GT racing in things like the GT Cup, which is one of the races here we have this weekend, but it's a step back to Clubman's again, isn't he?
Yes, indeed, and racing with his son. There we see Matt and Morris fighting over the Class 2 lead already, so that's great.
So Matthew Gauthier Thornton, I'm guessing sort of French within the family, is there?
I must be. I haven't had a good chat to see where his descendancy is and everything like that.
Yeah, but he's fighting away with the car of Morris Hart. That's a yellow car in the background. What we're looking at the moment is Steve Chaplin at the wheel of his, that's a Phantom, isn't it, by the look of things, the P79 Phantom. He has got tucked right up behind him Ian Crombie, another driver that's been around Clubman's for a good number of years.
Yeah, and we've got David Whale just ahead of him, so obviously David is leading the Class A thing at the moment. Right? So
he is, in 6th place overall. So over the start-finish time, it was a lead quartet. It's a trio now, really, because since dropping from 3rd to 4th on that lap, Peter Richings has been dropped back a bit. Clive Wood's pushing hard. You mentioned yesterday his car comes on strong as the race wears on. On the basis he is strong at the start, do you think that might mean that the car might go off later on in the race? Because it's warmer ambient temperatures today than yesterday.
But the tyres were fine yesterday, so obviously he's decided to push a bit harder. And so here we have my daughter, 87, racing with Roger Botton, so they had a good old tussle yesterday, and Samantha's actually ahead of him today, so that's good to see.
Yeah, that will be for 5th and 6th in Class 2 at this stage, but Clive Wood leads by half a second, as you can see to the left of your screens, from Steve Dickens, Cody Tree, Pete Richings, Mike Yules, Jared Lester sitting there in 6th place. David Whale in 7th, and Steve Chaplin wraps up the top 8 at the moment. As for the class leaders, well, Clive Wood leads Class 1. Class A is being led by the number 14 car of David Whale. Class 2 is Matthew Gauthier Thornton having a fantastic fight still for the lead of that class with Morris Hart, and Class B at the moment is led by the car of Martin Walker once more.
Indeed. No, it's good to see Martin just ahead of Barry. quite the gap is. Is it 7 seconds, I think, at the moment? Something like that. So that'd be fascinating if Barry's able to claw that back.
It is, yeah. It's nearly 7 3/4 seconds, isn't it? This is, as we say, for the lead of Class 2. Now, just tell us a little bit about Class 2, because that's the MG Rover engine cars, isn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, to date, this has really been the most dominant class. It's been around for many, many years. Really good, really cost-effective racing. The sealed MG K-Series engine, as we call it. I mean, the engine needs a rebuild every 4 or 5 seasons. If you keep it topped up with water and plenty of oil in it, everything like that, it's an amazingly reliable, cheap engine to race with, which is not the same as the road reputation. But Paul Freeman and the other engine builders, which is a sealed engine, so we only have actually 3 people who can rebuild the engines, and Paul Freeman does a superb job with them. He really knows them inside out, and it's great, cost effective, the same tyres, and it's really good. And you can see there, I think in that last shot we actually had all 3 of the Class 2 front runners there. Michelle's obviously closing up on them quickly, so that's good news. I'm sure that will be a fascinating battle.
Yeah, we might have a change of position here. Ian Crombie getting the toe on Steve Chaplin's Phantom. He's going to jink to the left-hand side, try and draw himself alongside as they head up towards Ritchie's corner. Can he make it through and up into 9th position? Adrian Lester, in the meantime, is now caught up with David Wales' car, so that will be for 7th and 8th position. So the battle's continuing all the way through the order. We're nearly at the halfway point of this race as well. 8 minutes to go. Another quick question about engines as well. CSP1, that's a maximum 2-litre engine. So what kind of manufacturer's engines do we see in it? I guess it's a mixture, is it?
It's a mixture. Again, we have the Rover K-Series. That's really a nice light engine, easy 1800cc version rather than 16 in Class 2.
Multi-valve.
Yes,
yeah.
Multi-valve that. Have Vauxhall engines and Opel engines, and motorbike engines as well. So
do you get many of the Fords in there?
No, there's the odd car with the Z-Tech in,
yeah,
a couple of them. But a lot of it is to do with the weight and everything like that. But that is really on the ascendancy. The numbers have gone up dramatically over the last 2 seasons, and it's just great. It has really taken over from the CSP2 class, the Rover engine class, as the dominant class. It's nice to see.
And you could also have motorcycle engines in that.
That's right. There's the 2 Leicester cars, and there's a couple of other cars around with motorcycle engines in there, and it'd be great to see them out.
But only up to 1600cc rather than a 2-litre. Yeah, so Clive Wood continuing in the lead. There is Paul Freeman. We were talking about the man who rebuilds the engines. That's the fairly rare Ardmore, I would guess. And we've still got that great fight going on, haven't we, for the lead of the class. Yes. It is still Mathieu Gauthier-Thornton hanging on to the lead of Class 2. But only just that yellow car getting ever larger in his mirrors, looking in the hands of Maurice Hart to try and weave its way through. It's got its nose ahead, I think.
And the red and white car, Michelle, coming into his mirrors as well. So, trying to go around the outside. Well done. Good pulling that off there for Maurice. Yeah. Doesn't overrun the corner. No, this is going to be a fascinating battle, I think this is. And it's great to see the battles at the front with Class 1 and these... the battle over Class 2 here, brilliant.
Michelle Haywood rather, at the wheel of number 84 car at the back of this little trio has largely been the dominant force, and I think she's going to pick off Mathieu Gauthier-Thornton all the way around the outside at Coram. That's brave stuff, but in these cars, the downforce really helps, doesn't it, around that corner?
That's Jared Lester.
Jared Lester off, and I would say that's not in the safest of places, is it there?
Indeed, we may get a safety car or something here, but now Michelle's many years of experience, obviously won the class in 2018, and she's driving Barry Webb's car. Barry actually has 2 Mallets, and Barry's in his B-class car. Michelle's out in the Class 2 car, and obviously a very quick driver. As you say, yes, Jared's pulled off there. That was a bit precarious on the outside of the whistle.
Yeah, it's not in a safe place. That a slight snatched break there from Maurice Hart. There was no puff of tyre smoke, so it was only just snatched, and it was the unloaded wheel, so shouldn't cause him too much problem, but just going to show that he is feeling the pressure now a little bit from Michelle Haywood, who has been the force to be reckoned with really so far this year in Class CSP2. 4 class wins for her. She's trying to hunt down her 5th and trying to sneak through if she can and grab the place.
There's Cody going past Steve for 2nd place in Class 1.
Yep, that's 2nd place overall in the race, isn't it? So the lead 3 getting themselves together now. Cody Tree was a little bit slower heading out of Nelson, and for a split second I thought Steve Dickens was going to come back at him there, and that little squabble might just help Clive Wood here to pull away.
Yeah, it looks like Clive's getting a break, obviously no problems there. So obviously I think Cody's decided Clive's disappearing, time to get after him and that. So it's interesting to see what will happen.
Yeah, Clive Wood's tyres are hanging on in this race. We are 2/3 of the way through it. The number 50 car is about to head over the start-finish line and complete lap number 4 in this race. The gap between himself and Cody Tree is 1.5 seconds there or thereabouts as they head over the start-finish line. So 1.479 seconds is the gap first to second. There is, I'm afraid to say, Barry Webb out.
Yeah, that's his rarity to see Barry retire. I'm going to say he was slowly hauling marching in, but no, but obviously he stopped there. That's very unusual.
It was a 100% record for Barry Webb in CSB Class B, wasn't it, coming into this weekend?
Yes, yeah.
Lost out in the Class win yesterday, retired today for the first time.
Yes, indeed. It's not going to be Barry's weekend, and this is a real rarity to see Barry. He knows the cars inside out with all these years of experience, and really prepares good cars. Obviously doing 2 cars at the moment, preparing them. So, very rare occurrence.
Poor weekend so far. Still one more race to come from the Clubmans, but for Barry Webb, that grid is based on what is the finishing positions for this one. Attack for the lead of the class.
But it's on the yellow flags, so it was yellow. I don't know whether that's where Barry's broken down or that. There's wave yellows there, so Michelle will have to leave it till she sees the next green flag.
And I think she's got it. I think Michelle Haywood is going up the inside, so that will be place gained up to 10th position overall and picking up the lead of Class 2. Morris Hart tries to fight back on the exit of the corner, but he's on the outside line as they head up towards Palmer. The pair of them absolutely side to side, as ever in Clubman's racing. Fair driving, close to each other, giving each other room. That's what it's all about.
Well, Morris back into the lead of the class. Brilliant. So Michelle had a little slide there, and obviously Morris back round.
Yeah, mid-corner oversteer, wasn't there, for a split second, and she had no choice but to try and correct it and lift off.
Yeah, whether there's still a little bit of oil there.
Possibly.
From Alan's.
From Alan Cook, yeah. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. So 3 minutes and 20 seconds to go. Now, Cody Tree in second place. The number 71 car is flying at the moment. He has set purple sector 1, purple sector 2.
Look at this. He's on Clive's tail already. This is amazing.
Yeah, there was a 1.5 second gap between the pair of them at the start of the lap. It's going to be nothing like that, but Cody Tree is going to pick up the slipstream as they head on the centre straight. I think he's a bit too far back to attack fully as they head up towards Ritchie's. Now, once you get right behind the car ahead with your aerodynamics, how much does that affect the car when you're in the dirty air?
Yeah, no, you do lose front-end downforce, so the car will start to slide. So he just needs to be patient and then decide where he'll overtake. Cody is renowned already for coming through when you don't expect him. So if we stay with him, I'm sure we'll see a good overtaking manoeuvre anytime soon.
And he is one of the younger drivers in the field, isn't he? Just 24 years of age, the man from Exeter.
Yes, indeed. No, and this is it. It's quite funny. Everybody says about this red car hurtles past them when they don't expect it, and that's so obviously that's Clive just actually overtaking his daughter Pippa. So Pippa's not actually helping his father, so she'll be admonished later on about that.
She could have let Dad through and weave around a bit there. No, that's not what Clubman's racing is about. It's all good fun. It's all good fun, and it's all very friendly. So yeah. So this is for the lead of the race. It does look as though Cody Tree has pushed, and maybe now is just sort of.
Clive got a wobble on there, so I think Cody might try the next corner. Let's have a look. No. So I'll be interested to see what happens down the straight now. Obviously the Phantom is slightly smaller cross-sectional area, it looks like, so he may be able to slipstream Clive. Let's see what happens. And he's very brave into this next corner. So let's watch what's happening. Let's
have a quick look, see whether he can sneak his way through. Too far away, I think, as they headed towards Brundle. He's not going to do it.
No.
I did see go through shot as well at Jared Lester, so that's why we didn't see a safety car. He got the car going, so that's good to know that Jared is back out there, but he's, I think, lost a lap or so now as a result of those problems.
That's right, but the grid positions for the third and our final race here are decided by your finishing position in this
one. Yeah.
So you actually need to finish and try and finish as high as possible rather than the fastest lap in race 1, which decides the grid position for race 2.
So Clive Wood will be heading on to his final lap of the race this time through. The gap that was 1.5 seconds came down to 0.4 last time through. Cody Tree is now having to work his way together with Clive Wood past the traffic whilst they fight for the lead of the race, but it's still the grey car with its day-glow yellow flashes that continues to lead the race. The red car of yesterday's pole sitter Cody Tree sitting right behind him. The gap is down to just 0.387 of a second. Now, for Cody Tree, where do you attack? If you attack too early, you give the opportunity for Clive to try and get you back. Maybe good exit out of Williams and down the Bentley straight.
Yeah, indeed. But no, Clive is an experienced driver, and I'm sure he's not going to make it easy for Cody. So this should be fascinating to see how it pans out.
In a straight line, Cody Tree, I thought in yesterday's race was quick in a straight line. We'll have to wait and see. Now they come together up towards the braking area for Agostini. Here's our Class 2 squabble still going on.
No, and Michelle's got back past.
She's got back past, yeah.
When they went across the line last time, Morris was actually a half, but Michelle's actually got past him on this lap, and they've got Steve Chaplin actually, who's ahead of them on the road, so they're not lapping him, and obviously he's a Class A car, so he'd be very quick in a straight line. So here we are, Clive and Cody again. So see what happens out before they go into the straight.
Yeah, this is the key corner here. Got to get off this corner cleanly, and both Clive Wood will want to do so, but he knows he'll be punching in the hole in the air for Cody Tree, who's going to close in the slipstream. There's no traffic they need to worry about this time, and I think, well, yeah, Paul Freeman stays out of harm's way in the Ardmore. Clive Wood is still far enough ahead of Cody Tree to hang on to the lead of the race as they head in towards Brundle and Nelson for the final time. Cody Tree, there's contact between the pair of them, and, well, Cody Tree is going to continue. Clive Wood was sort of bumped out the way. I don't think there's any damage to the car there, but they were so intent on either trying to defend or trying to attack, but a little bit of contact there.
Yeah, indeed. Now, as I said to you, I knew Cody was brave, and I wasn't surprised that he tried it around the outside into there. It's a very difficult manoeuvre. I know from many years of racing here. So
you could see the cars were fully alongside, but you couldn't see whether there was a change of direction from one or the other. So it'd be unfair to apportion blame for that little bit of contact. Either way, Cody Tree on the road goes through to grab the win and take the checkered flag. So Cody Tree, that is going to be his first win of the season.
Yeah, first win in Class 1 altogether, yes. So he's had a few wins in Class 2 when he did Class 2 a few years back.
Now, did Clive Wood recover before Steve Dickens went through? Who's going to finish second? No, Steve Dickens.
Yes.
Steve Dickens comes through to finish in second position. Clive Wood with a puncture by the look of things. Yeah, he's got a right rear puncture, and the number 50 car that was leading until a couple of corners to go is going to head towards the pit lane. So that should promote Peter Richings, should it not, to third position at the checkered flag.
I think so, yes. It depends if Clive goes in the pit lane.
Yeah, there he goes. Yeah, I think Clive is still trundling his way up the pit lane.
He needs to get over the line, so he actually gets a classified position, I guess.
He does. And for the lead of Class 2, Michelle Haywood has lost out again by the look of things. It's changed again, yeah. The yellow car of Morris Hart is back in the class. How many times has the lead in Class 2 changed in this race?
I know, amazing. Every lap it seems to be different. I may you actually swapping during the lap as well. We haven't seen that. No.
And she's still, and the car of Morris Hart is still sort of bottled up behind Steve Chaplin, but on the charge to the line, we'll have to wait and see as to whether there might be a further twist in the tail for Class 2.
Morris's car is quick in a straight line, as is Michelle's driving, so it's fascinating to see.
Is it the yellow car of Morris Hart? It is, just going to be the yellow car of Morris. Or was it? Because Michelle Haywood was right alongside, and there was a tenth of a second between the two of them.
Absolutely amazing. Brilliant. Oh, that's really, really good.
Good driving.
And obviously Michelle was from the back of the grid, and Matt's finishing third in class there. You've got Ben Mellett just going through the shot there. Ben has raced Class 2 to date, and he's now in the Class 1 car. He's coming along very well because he has not had that much experience.
So let's just run you through the results, and there won't be a graphic that comes up, but just to give you the results. The win goes the way of Cody Tree, his first of the season. In second place was Steve Dickens. Third place goes the way of Peter Richings. In fourth position, it was Mike Yules. Fifth place goes the way of the number 66 car off the back of the grid, Adrian Lester. All of those cars are in Class CSP1. In sixth place, it was the Class A winner, car number 14, David Whale, claims the win in Class A. That's his first class win of the season as well, I think, isn't it?
Indeed, yes.
In seventh position was Ian Crombie. Eighth place goes the way of Steve Chaplin, and ninth place, claiming the win in Class 2, was Morris Hart. So Snetterton will be his favourite circuit at the moment. His first class win yesterday, backs it up with another today. What can he do in the third race later on? And completing the top 10 was Michelle Haywood. Other class winners outside of the top 10 we need to pick up on is in 17th position. That's where we see the Class B winner. Again, a double class win for him so far this weekend, Martin Walker.
No, brilliant. He'll be over the moon. And say Barry's lost out there. So my daughter's finished 16th and 5th in class. So that's good news. She's finished okay.
More championship points. And you're going to join us again later on, Mike?
Yeah, I will do indeed. No, I'll go and find out what's happening in the paddock. I think it'd be interesting to see how things are between Cody and Clive. I think it could be interesting.
Well, let's hope there's no animosity, and let's hope that they will shake hands and either agree to disagree or there'll be apologies accepted. Let's hope so. So there we go. Thanks, Mike Evans, for joining us, the chairman of the Clubman's Register. He'll be back with us later on because we do have one further Clubman's Sports Prototype Championship race coming up later on over the course of this afternoon. The lights are due to go out, and we'll get that race underway at 17:25, 5:25. The stream will go live probably around 5 minutes before that, so about 20 past 5 this afternoon. So thank you if you've joined us for the Clubman Sports Prototype Championship race on the live stream, but make sure you're back with us. Get your diary set or your alarm set on your mobile phones or your electronic devices, and come back with us for the third and final race of the weekend. As we say, the stream will go live somewhere between 5:15 and 5:20 this evening. So from everybody at Snetterton, thanks for joining us for that race. We'll be back later on for race 3.